Okay, wrestling fans are back here right now with a legend of pro wrestling business, the one and only Jerry the King Lawler. Jerry, tonight, big time wrestling. You and the Ugandan giant Kamala, you guys have been feuding up and down all over the world for the last 10 years. You know the Kamala very well. What do you think about your match tonight?
Well, you know, you're right. I do know this guy a lot better than I wish I knew him. I mean, it's been, I really don't know how many years. I was sitting in the locker room a minute ago trying to think, when was the first time I locked up with Kamala? I was actually the very first wrestler that he stepped into a ring with when he came to the United States, you know. And at that time, he was managed and brought over here by J.J. Dillon. James J. Dillon actually brought Kamala to this country, and that's, you know, I was the first time I wrestled him. And it's been too many years and too many matches with this guy. Somehow he keeps finding me. Somehow he keeps coming out of the woodwork, crawling out from underneath a rock, and wants another match with the King. Well, you know, tonight's just going to be another one of those matches, and hopefully it'll be like a lot of them in the past. Hopefully I'll get my hand raised at the end of it.
I think you will too. You know, your website, kinglawler.com, where all the fans can go on there, look at pictures, videos, the history of Jerry the King Lawler. Now, I saw something on there called Leave It to Lawler, and I tell you, it was one of the most funny and entertaining segments I've ever seen. You got a really incredible family there. For the people that don't know, what is Leave It to Lawler?
Well, Leave It to Lawler is just a little version of my own reality show. You know, VH1, MTV, all these people have contacted the King, wanting to know if they can send their cameras down to my house, do a reality show, and I've said so far the answer has been absolutely not. I don't like the invasion of privacy. You know, I mean, sure, it's fine for Hulk Hogan. If he wants to let a camera crew from whatever network that is come and live with him 24 hours a day, you know, chase his kids and his wife all around the country, it's got to be 40, 50 people in that camera crew, right? I said no. But what I did do, I know that the fans were clamoring. The fans wanted to see an insider's view of what the life of the King was like. So, you know what I do? I take my own home video camera much like that you're using right there. As by the way, I want to tell you one thing, just a little helpful hint. If you tell your cameraman to raise the camera up and shoot down on you, you would lose about 40 pounds right here. But that's just a little hint from the King. And, of course, so would I. So next time I do an interview, let's raise the camera a little bit. But anyway, I do that. I use my own camera, and, you know, we just have just a little glimpse. They're not long pieces, but just a little glimpse of what life is like around the Lawler household. And, of course, we one of my favorite shows of all time, one of the great family shows in history was Leave It to Beaver. And since my household is very similar to that, except it's full of Eddie Haskells, we called it Leave It to Lawler. And so it's just, it's me, my girlfriend Renee, her sister Barbara, and of course they're from Rhode Island, and they're stuck down in Memphis, Tennessee, which is quite a culture shock. And they went out and hired a butler who is, let's say, a mental midget. And then I went out and hired a cute little maid, and the hilarity ensues.
We just had WrestleMania 22. Yeah, you sat back there with JR. How was it like having JR back there for WrestleMania 22?
Very good. You know, JR and I have such amazing chemistry. It's just, I mean, he came back in. Of course, we did Saturday Night Main Event together, but he came back in for WrestleMania, and he was just off the hook. I mean, the guy is fantastic. It was like he had never gone. You know, we didn't miss a beat. I thought WrestleMania was extraordinary. I thought it just really went well, and I was really happy with it, and especially happy to have JR back. And he's back working with us kind of behind the scenes on Raw now, and, you know, nothing against Joey Styles, but I do really miss JR.
Yeah, and let me ask you the last question here. What's going on in Memphis here? You got Memphis Championship Wrestling. Wrestling has always been a hotbed down there, and you're still going strong. Tell us about what you have going on there. What's going on right now in Memphis? I believe it's Memphis Championship Wrestling?
Memphis Championship Wrestling, you know, like you said, Memphis, Tennessee has always been historically one of the mainstays. I mean, I don't think there's any place else in the country that has a live Saturday morning wrestling show anywhere in the nation. You know, all the wrestling shows are either WWE or TNA or whatever, and then that's it. But every Saturday morning we still have live wrestling, studio wrestling in Memphis. It's like a throwback to the days of studio wrestling that almost everybody remembers. We've been doing it down there for years and years and years, and so many wrestlers got their start. I look back on a tape the other day. I wrestled a guy called Flex Cavana in a loser leave town match there on our Memphis TV one morning, and of course he became, the very next week he went to WWE and became The Rock. And so a lot of these guys, so many guys got their start there in Memphis, or at least have come through Memphis, and we still, Memphis has such a great wrestling history that we still keep it going. We're on UPN 30 every Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. Central Time. If the people, of course, around the country can't check it out, but now the show is shown all throughout Canada on the Fight Network, and then it's also shown throughout the United Kingdom. So hopefully someday we'll get it syndicated around the country. But in the meantime, people can watch the show, our Saturday Morning Memphis show, on my website, kinglawler.com. It's on right on there every week.
All right, folks, remember, check out online, kinglawler.com, to watch it, to leave it to Lawler, and all the action and incitement of this man's career. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further introduction, this is the one and only Jerry the King Lawler.